I tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Sales Savage, if I could just start with you. So how many customers do you have approximately?
Between 14 and 15 million customers.
Between 14 and 15 million. I think you told Senator Britt just a minute ago that a goodly number of those are minors. Is that correct?
What I said was I don't have the number of customers.
You have the genetic data of a good many minors. Is that correct?
We have genetic data for a particular number of minors, and I will be happy to provide.
People under the age of 18. Is that correct?
That is how I'm defining a minor.
So they give your customers, I just make sure I understand your business model. Your customers give you their genetic information for you to run various tests on. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And I mean, that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Somebody's genetic information. Is there anything more personal than that?
I would agree with you, Senator, that genetic data is sensitive information.
And so now you're just going to sell all of it? 15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market?
Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
That's the big pharma company? It doesn't make me feel any better.
Is a large pharmaceutical company.
All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody, and your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I mean, I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
not real?
Not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research purposes.
So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day.
Senator, I will say that our customers' data is their own. They have the right at all times to access that information. They can edit it.
Well, sure they can, but you're about to sell it to who knows who. They can't control it. You said to Senator Moody that consumers have complete control of their data. Complete. How can they have complete control if you're about to sell it without their consent?
Senator, they can delete that data anytime up until the sale and after.
Oh, okay. They can delete the data. Have you fixed the ability of customers to go on your website and delete it? Because right after you announced your sale, your deletion page went down. I hold in my hand here an article from the Wall Street Journal. 23andMe site goes down as customers struggle to delete their data. Can they even get onto your site to delete their data?
They can, Senator. And
you fixed this?
That was an issue that, yes, we fixed immediately after.
It's up and running now? Customers can go on?
Customers can go on and they can delete their data.
What happens when they go onto your site to delete their data?
When a customer logs into their account at 23andMe, they go to their settings page, and there's a section there where just click delete my data. It confirms that they want to delete their data, and it's deleted automatically.
Is that true? Let's take a look. Okay. When they go onto your page, they get an opportunity. It says permanently delete the data. So they click the button that says permanently delete the data, and then they get a notification that says your account is no longer accessible. How do they know if they can't access their account anymore? How do they know their data's been deleted?
Because we send them a notification that their information has been deleted.
You send it once, and how long does that take?
Our policies state that, we will delete their data within 30 days, and in most cases, it is automatic and happens much quickly.
And when you deleted it, it's deleted, it's gone forever.
All the genetic data is deleted forever, and yes.
Really? Because that's not what your privacy statement says in the fine print. Let's read it. What your statement says is, we retain personal information for as long as necessary to provide the services and fill the transactions you've requested, to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, enforce agreements, et cetera, et cetera. And then it goes on, 23andMe and or our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information even if you choose to delete your account.
Senator, 23andMe, it does not retain any genetic information regarding the consumer once they delete their account. We do.
It says right here that you will retain genetic information, including date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account. This is your privacy policy. I'm just quoting from it.
Senator, to the best of my knowledge, we do not maintain any genetic information.
It says even if you choose to delete your account, we will retain your genetic information, date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account.
There's some information that we do retain, such as, but not related to the genetic information.
Right.
But that, such as name, email address,
and
other
So even if you delete the account, you retain their name, you retain their email address, you retain their date of birth, you retain their sex, and you retain their genetic information, even if they choose to delete your account. So in other words, don't talk to your suit behind you, talk to me. He's not testifying, you are. You do not allow consumers actually to delete permanently their data. And when you said a minute ago to Senator Moody, at all times consumers have complete control of their data, that's just not true, is it? By the terms of your own agreement, that just is not true.
Senator, with all due respect, all of the genetic data is deleted. We are only making...
With all due respect, what you are telling me is in direct contravention to what your own policy states, even if you choose to delete your account. In fact, what you do is you allow your consumers to delete their account settings, but their data isn't deleted. You still have it. The laboratory still has it. You have their name. You have their date of birth. You have their sex. And now you're going to sell it. Here's my point. It's a pattern. Your consumers actually aren't in control of anything. You are. You control their data. You control their genetic information. Now you're about to sell it. You promise them, we won't ever sell it without your consent, but you're doing it. You promise them, we'll allow you to delete it, but you don't. In fact, you've lied to them. Have you not?
Senator, we have not. I assure you that we are deleting all of our customers who have requested.
No, you're not. You're not, because your policies say they're not, and you're not deleting it because if you were, your company wouldn't be worth $300 million. No, don't read from what your guy behind you is shoveling talking points to you now. I don't want your talking points. I've read your policies. I've seen what they are, and I tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion for lying to them and taking their most personal, identifiable information and selling it for a profit and lying to them and to the American public. Quite frankly, Mr. Savage, what you're doing here has all kinds of implications, national security implications, all of it, but nothing is worse than taking the personal, identifiable information of American consumers and keeping it and lying to them about it while you make a huge profit off of it. It's unbelievable to me. It's absolutely unbelievable. This concludes our hearing. I want to thank each of the witnesses for taking the time to share your experience, your expertise, and your perspectives. Written questions can be submitted for the record until Wednesday, June 18th at 5 p.m. I'll ask the witnesses to answer and return questions to the committee within 2 weeks. The hearing's adjourned.
And so in this moment, in this exact final exchange, just seconds before the gavel dropped, what we just saw was Josh Hawley look directly at the CEO of 23andMe and say the quiet part out loud, not in metaphor, not in abstraction, not in polite euphemism. He told him to his face that this should result in being sued into oblivion. This wasn't academic. This wasn't theoretical. This wasn't gentle institutional disagreement. This was the full admission and recognition that what we are dealing with here is a world where the most intimate biological identity a human has, their own DNA, is something a corporation believes it can sell, quietly, without consent, while still claiming publicly that control still belongs to the consumer. You could see the silence in that room when Hawley read the fine print. Not the marketing, not the homepage, not the feel-good Silicon Valley TED language, the fine print, the part written for lawyers, the part written for shareholders, the part written for extraction. It said they still retain the genetic information even if the consumer deletes their account. That single sentence may end up being the hinge of this entire era of American data power politics, because this is where the old world of tech privacy concerns, browser data and click logs and advertising pixels, ends, and a new world begins. A world where private capital is literally collecting, indexing, owning, and selling the permanent biological identity of millions of Americans, including children. A world where democracy is not simply being influenced by information, but engineered by genomic capital. And this hearing, this moment, shows how unprepared the law is, how unprepared our institutions are, how slow Congress has been to understand the scale of extraction that is already normalized, how little enforcement power currently exists to force accountability before irreversible damage is already done. But this is also where the moral critique becomes larger than one CEO, larger than one deal, larger than one company, because 23andMe is not an outlier. It is a model, a product of a system that now trains founders to believe that privacy is a negotiable variable, and the destruction of public trust is simply a risk to be weighed against revenue projections and exit valuation. A system that trains acquirers to believe that every data set is a weaponizable asset, a tradable derivative, a tool of leverage. A system that trains the public to believe that powerlessness is normal. The company claims consumer data is always owned by the consumer. The privacy page claims it cannot be shared without consent. The rhetoric claims deletion is real. But the fine print says otherwise. This is how American corporate power evolved after 2008. This is how regulatory capture evolved after Citizens United. This is how commodification of identity evolved after Cambridge Analytica wasn't dismantled, but absorbed. The state has not kept pace. The law has not kept pace. The public has not been equipped. That is the real threat revealed here. Whether this CEO meant to lie, or whether he simply believed the existing legal terrain would always protect his interpretation, the outcome is the same. The American people were never structurally empowered to prevent this in the first place. There is no meaningful mechanism for ordinary citizens to enforce consent against corporate data capital. There is no meaningful mechanism to verify deletion. There is no meaningful mechanism to punish extraction. And this is how empire-level tech power grows. It grows slowly. It grows in the shadows. It grows through norms that become normalized long before they become illegal. We are entering the era where AI models will be trained not simply on text or images, but on your genome, where algorithmic prediction will not be about what you might click, but what diseases you might have, what traits you might pass to children, what insurance companies might want to adjust, what pharmaceutical firms might want to price against. Genetic data is not merely personal, it is destiny-coded, immutable, irreplaceable, and if that is owned by private capital, democracy becomes secondary to markets. This hearing was not a random spectacle. This hearing was not a one-off scandal. This hearing was a flashing red siren showing the next frontier of power. And if government does not learn to regulate this now, we will not get a second chance once AI infrastructure and capital markets have integrated this pipeline fully. This is the closing shot of a new political era. Civil rights must now include genomic rights. Privacy must now include biological sovereignty. Oversight must now include the right to permanently erase one's existence from corporate archives with verification, with audit, with transparency, with teeth. Because if deletion isn't real, ownership isn't real. If deletion isn't provable, consent isn't real. This is where the future of freedom actually lives now. This is where democracy must fight next. Subscribe to Liberal Line.